Hey lovings, I hope you're having a wonderful day or night wherever you are in the world. If you're new here, welcome and thank you so much for tuning in. If you are one of my returning subscribers, guys, like I have no words. I'm not even going to try and explain myself because I know I have not been the consistent queen that I know you all want me to be, but I'm hoping that things are going to get better this time. With that said, I'd like to reintroduce myself. My name is Kobeli and I create lock content anywhere from lock styling to lock maintenance. I have been locked for 5 years now, and I started my lock journey with lock extensions. And I just did that purely because I wanted to live the long lock fantasy, but you know, after a period of 2 years, it kind of just grew old, you know. I loved my hair, but it really wasn't as sentimental to me because I put no work in it, really. Had somebody grow it out for me and then just enjoyed the hard work that they did. So then I decided that I am going to chop it all off. It was such an impulse decision. I just woke up one morning in the middle of the pandemic and I was just done. So I chopped all of my hair off, like to the shortest you can imagine. And when my hair started growing out and was at a teeny weeny afro, I kind of dabbled with going back to loose natural hair, but once you get locked, you can never go back. And that is when I decided to start my lock journey again. I kid you not, I had 3 occurrences that I started my lock journey on, and the first was towards the end of 2021 in December, and my hair was still relatively short. I'll put a picture somewhere here, and I wanted to start my locks with the twist method. From when I was a loose natural to this day, my twists are, there's something but not quite twists. But I was very adamant with wanting to start my locks that way, and also I was adamant with starting my locks myself, and this is why. When I had my previous set, I enjoyed how it all looked, and that being the size of my locks and the quantity of the locks that I had and just how all of that came together. And I just didn't really trust anybody to do that because I'm very finicky with how I want my hair to turn out. I wanted to have that control because unlike before, I wanted to create a great foundation for my hair because I actually want to stick it out longer this time. So I started out with 2 strand twists, very badly done, but I knew in my previous set I had around like 76, 78 locks, and that was the number that I'm comfortable with. I have very thick hair, like I have very naturally thick hair, and it can either go both ways. I can either have too thick locks or too many locks. It's not always easy for people to strike a balance between the two. That is why I was very adamant with starting my locks myself. So I figured if I just start the locks out, then I have the grid patterns, I have the quantity, I have the lock distribution that I want, and I can just go to a loctician and have them clean it up nicely. To my surprise, after I think 2-3 weeks, I went to my loctician trying to, you know, get him to do my hair nice and neat. And when I got there, he was just like, girl, there are absolute no locks here. Your twists are still not even still holding on, they're barely holding on to dear life. And we just decided that we're going to have to start the twists again. But the only difference this time was, one, he was a professional and he knew what he was doing, and also we decided to tie a string at the end so that the twist wouldn't unravel. But I appreciated that he respected that I wanted to maintain the form that I had, even though it was a mess. So he really helped me out in maintaining the grids that I had, the quantity of locks that I had, but just neatening up the twist so that they last long enough for my hair to get to the twist point. A few weeks down the line, I wasn't having it. Even though my twists in the beginning were a lot messier, I just felt like they worked, you know. But now with these new twists that I had, and with my hair being so short, it just looked like I had spikes on my head, and no headband could fix that. And it was in summer, I wasn't about to do the whole head wrap thing, and then I decided, what if I undo these twists one by one and crochet them as I undid them? And I know you're thinking, why couldn't you just go to the salon and just get them to do your locks with crochet from the get-go? It's very expensive to start your locks from scratch than to get it maintained. So in my efforts to save some coin, I just figured if I could just manipulate these locks to look somewhat like crocheted locks, then when I go to the salon, you know, then I'll just have to pay the maintenance fee rather than starting my locks, even though the situation that I had wasn't as well as it would have been if I'd gone to the salon initially. So I did that and it worked. I went to the salon and, you know, it's been going well since, right? So when I got my locks, I was very intentional about the parting. The first set of locks that I had didn't really have a middle part. It was something. It took some finessing to get the styles how I wanted them to be. So I opted for a middle parting. And when it comes to the quantity actually, which will also inform the thickness of the locks, I went for, I think, 3 or 4 or maybe 5 more locks than I had initially. If I recall, I have around like 81, 82 something locks right now. The thickness though is different from what I had before. Well, I guess it's arguable, right? Because I started off with lock extensions. Therefore, my locks were not thick true to how my hair is, or the thickness of my hair. They were already formed locks, so the loctician then just tried to part hair based on how much hair would fit what lock, you know, he had in his hand at that time. But yeah, right now it's quite thick. It's giving me some thick vibes, which I don't mind because I enjoy having full hair rather than having it all flat. I'm just hoping that as the hair grows longer, that this kind of look will still be maintained, because I'd hate my hair to grow long and out. Like, I don't want it to give Hermione vibes, but like with locks, you know, like that's not the look that I'm going for. And also when I did my parts, because I wanted slightly chunkier locks than what I had before, I opted to have thinner locks around the perimeter of my head, so my hairline as well as the nape of, well, the nape of my head, whatever, you get what I'm saying. And this is because the longer your lock grows, the heavier it gets. And I didn't want to have thicker locks around the perimeter of my head because that is where my hair is most fragile. So I wanted, when my hair to grow out, to have a lock thick enough that despite the length, my scalp would still be able to carry without going under too much strain. In the 5 years that I've had my locks, though, the one thing that I still feel like we need to work on as a community is aftercare and lock maintenance. I had a very elaborate maintenance and aftercare in the years that I've had my locks, but over time I was starting to see a bit of build-up, and I brought a question forward, like, guys, what is the best way? Like, how do we do this? How do you make sure that your hair is doing what it's supposed to? How do you take care of it properly? Like, what's the real tea? A lot of people came forward saying, just let your hair be, you know, wash it if it's not clean, don't worry about the oils, the serums, and all of that juicy jazz that all YouTubers like to talk about, right? And I'd like to say that for the year and so months that I've had this set of locks, I've actually gone by that, and it's worked for a bit until this winter, which is right now, came. For the duration of these this 1.5 years months, I really didn't use anything on my locks. When I needed to style it and it was in between washes, I'll just use a spray bottle and water, work it into my hair. If my hair felt dry, that is what I would do. But now that winter is here, the reality of things has changed completely. Like, have you ever gotten to a point where you can feel and hear the crunchiness of your hair and you just know that, look, something here is not right? And when I went to the salon to get my hair done, as I was freshly done right now, my loctician actually told me, like, your hair is not doing great. Like, it's super dry and you're running the risk of having it break from the roots, which means that further down the line it's gonna be more susceptible to breakage. Like, your locks will actually break at that point where you had breakage on your roots once it's grown out. I don't know if that makes sense. And he did the most amazing thing, which I feel like maybe that is what I can incorporate into my new lock journey, with going with minimal product as possible, but still taking care of the moisture in my hair and its elasticity in the winter times. We did a hot oil treatment, so he rubbed a whole bunch of oils into my hair, put me under a dryer, and I guess once the oils had cooked themselves in there, we went to the basin, washed it all off, and then continued with the usual maintenance process. It's only been a week since I got my hair done, and I can tell you, just that one treatment feels like kind of reversed the damage that my hair was working up to in the 3 months that I hadn't done anything about my hair being dry. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep an eye on how things are, but I think that that's something new that I'm gonna be incorporating into this new journey, because honestly I really want to stay away from products. And worst of all, guys, I have 2 dogs now, Luna and Tenna. This is Tenna, nicknamed Toto, one of my babies. Come, Luna, Luna, come. And this big chunky girl over here is Luna. Yes, she is. Hello, Luna. Okay, these babies of mine shed. So my philosophy or my theory is, if I have an oily scalp, if my hair is oily, it makes it easier for their fur to stick onto my hair, and I really don't want that. I mean, I still get hair on my clothes which transfers onto my hair, but not to an extent that I can't like pick the hair out, and I just don't want to become a magnet for fur, you know what I mean? One thing that I still stand firmly on to this day is that you need to give your hair a break in between maintenance. Whether you retwist your hair, you crochet like I do, whatever method you use to maintain your locks, you need to give yourself time in between those sessions. I still stay on my 3 months in between, and that is because I don't want to run the risk of my hair thinning out, because it is constantly being manipulated. And I know, well, now I know that when you have short locks, it gets very frustrating in between those salon visits, because it feels like your hair is getting unmanageable. You can't get your hair to do what you need it to do. It's looking a little bit untidy. One thing that works for me, has always worked for me since I started this set of locks, is water in a spray bottle. When I want to get ready, I just get my water in a spray bottle, I spray my hair and massage the water into my hair, making my hair a lot easier to manipulate without having to pull or tug it, and I'm good to go. Sure, guys, we have so much to catch up on, but I don't want to make this video too long, so I'm going to end it off here, and we'll talk some more in the next coming videos. But it felt really amazing to sit in front of the camera and make content again. I don't know why I haven't been doing it for such a long time. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, I love you guys so much. Bye.